the masks on!
G'day and welcome to Ricky Bologna Books. In this episode, we will be looking at a desperate battle which went down in history as the Attack of the Dead Men. The story is from Russia Beyond, and the link to their webpage is in the description box below. During the First World War, dozens of Russian soldiers, poisoned by a gas attack, roused themselves from near death to fight off the Germans and turn an attack by a superior force into a panic-stricken rout. When the Germans launched a deadly poison gas attack on Russia's Oswiecki fortress on August the 6th, 1915, it seemed certain that the Russian garrison would not survive. The Russian troops, whose gas masks were as good as useless, seemed doomed to die. However, the German infantry's advance, or rather pleasant stroll, towards the well-defended fortress turned into a real nightmare. Instead of finding piles of corpses, the Germans ran into enemy soldiers who were very much alive, but strongly resembled the dead. The Russians, clothed in bloody rags, coughing up blood and on their last legs, launched an attack on the shocked Germans. This attack has gone down in history as the Attack of the Dead. The Unbreakable Spirit. The Oswiecki fortress, located near the Polish town of Białystok, was a bone in the throat of the Germans as it forced them to keep troops tied up in the salient in the northeast Poland. First targeted in September 1914, the fortress withstood all enemy attacks through extensive use of planes and artillery. Following their unsuccessful attempt to seize the Russian stronghold, the Germans turned to more extreme measures. On August the 6th, 1915, they released chlorine gas over the fortress. Sergei Khmelkov, one of the fortress's defenders who survived the gas attack, recalled, "Any living person stood outside of the bridgehead of the fortress was poisoned to death. The grass turned black, there were flower petals scattered everywhere. Meat, butter, lard, vegetables were poisoned and deemed unsuitable for consumption." The fortress was not prepared at all to withstand a gas attack. There were no planes in place, no resources to collectively and individually protect the garrison, and the gas masks sent to them were of little use. Most of the barracks, dugouts, and fortified posts lacked artificial ventilation and were not even fitted with any kind of oxygen generators. 3 companies from the 226th Infantry Division were wiped out, and only around 100 soldiers from the 4th Company survived. German forces, wearing gas masks, secretly launched the attack on the fortress, confident that the garrison would be totally eradicated. The Attack of the Dead. Once the enemy had crushed the first line of Russian defense and breached the bulwark, they started to advance inside the fortress, where the survivors of the 13th Company, led by 2nd Lieutenant Vladimir Kotlinsky, launched its legendary attack, which is known today as the Attack of the Dead. I can't describe the anger and fury that gripped our soldiers as they headed towards their poisoners, the Germans. Heavy rifles, machine guns, heavy shrapnel could not stop the onslaught of the frenzied soldiers. An unidentified survivor wrote in the newspaper Pskov Life in 1915. 60 men opened fire with their faces wrapped in bloody cloths, trembling and coughing, literally spitting out pieces of their lungs onto their blood-stained shirts. Although exhausted and poisoned, they advanced with the sole purpose of crushing the Germans, the eyewitness explains. The Germans, in a state of shock, astonished by the sight of dead Russian soldiers and the fury of the attack, fled in a state of panic, leaving behind their machine guns and getting fatally caught up in their own barbed wire defenses. Taking advantage of the surprise, the 8th and 14th Companies recaptured the main bulwark, eliminated the gap, and brought the revived garrison artillery back together. The leader of the Attack of the Dead, the savior of the fortress, 2nd Lieutenant Kotlinsky, was severely wounded and died the same evening. The surrender of Oswiecim. Despite the bravery of the Russian soldiers, the fortress was doomed. Again in April and May 1915, Austrian and German forces broke through the Russian front in East Prussia and Galicia. The fortress concealed the strategic retreat of Russian forces up until August, at which point defending the fortress became pointless. On the 22nd of August, the Russian garrison left the fortress in an orderly and calm fashion, demolishing the main bulwarks and fortified points. The counterattack, led by Kotlinski, prevented the fortress from falling into the hands of the Germans and saved thousands of its garrison from disaster. History would tell a different story had the German offensive of August the 6th succeeded. If you made it to the end of the clip, thank you very much. And please feel free to click on the link below and you can get one of my books free at either Amazon or on Barnes & Noble or Smashwords. Thanks very much and see you next time.